Good evening and welcome to the Administration and Finance Committee meeting, April 8, 2025. We have regrets from Trustee Ria Corbett and Trustee Anisha Thomas, and Trustee Sean Xavier is attending virtually. Please stand for the opening prayer. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Dear Lord, during our Lenten journey, you are our mentor and inspiration, a home of good choices and decisions. You help us search with confidence as we find our way to inner peace. Please gather your wisdom around us, guide us carefully as we make choices. Place your loving influence on our hearts. Teach us how to hear your voice, to attend to your wisdom in those around us. Guide of our lives, lead us to inner peace and oneness with you. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Land acknowledgement. A beautiful and sunny day. The land is smiling. We are ever thankful for this grace and this beauty. It enlivens the soul and keeps our hopes alive as we witness the beauty of creation all around us. And yet, we can never quiet the past. It is a part of us, all around us. We have collectively inherited the difficulties that come from past wickedness and complacency, and apathy and entitlement, and must promise to do better, always, to turn away from evil, actively with every step we take. As always, we thank the Michisagi of the Credit, our local treaty partners who have been stewards of this land for generations. Together, we commit to beauty and peace and to fight injustice and vigorously, passionately, resolutely create a future with hope.
Thank you, Trustee Del Rosario. Can I have someone move approval of the agenda, please? Trustee Bruno Enica, all in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, carried. Don't have any declaration of interest. Approval of the minutes of the Administration and Finance Committee meeting for February 4, 2025. Business arising from the minutes are attached. Are there any questions? Moved by Trustee Stefano Pascucci. All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, carried. Awards and presentations.
Thank you. Good evening, and through the chair, our presentation this evening is going to take place virtually. And online, we have Teresa Burgess Ogilvie, Gerald Haddad, and Lauren Kinney, I believe. Kinney. Correct. Sorry, they're coming in right now.
Stephanie is coming.
Oh, no, they're coming. There we go.
Are we ready?
Yes, Teresa, is that you?
That is me.
Okay, I'll leave. I did some introductions. I may have messed up some of the names. So if you want to do some formal introductions, and then you can begin with your presentation.
Thank you. So I'm Teresa Burgess Ogilvie, Executive Director of Safe City, Mississauga, and with me tonight is Gerald Haddad. You guys may have remembered him from Neighborhood Watch and Neighborhood Services. He is now in Youth Services. And Lauren Kinney, who has been with us in Youth Services, and now she has switched over to Neighborhood Services. So we are strengthening our backbench with cross-training. And I will go ahead and get started. So good evening, Chair and members of the committee. On behalf of Safe City Mississauga staff and board of directors, I'm pleased to present our 2024 annual impact report. Safe City Mississauga has been a trusted leader in crime prevention for 33 years for everyone. And we are the only nonprofit organization dedicated to proactive community crime prevention. Safe City Mississauga programs and services help ensure people stay safe at home, school, and work. And we bring today's most effective and timely crime prevention programs and techniques directly into the homes, schools, and businesses based on our strategic pillars. Now, organization-wide, here are some quick facts that tell you our story on participation, volunteer, and outreach. And we want to say thank you to all of our 270 amazing volunteers. And these are some indicators of impact for the Neighborhood Watch program. This month, we begin our final year of Building Safer Community Fund grant that has allowed us to establish and grow the School Watch program. We will be looking for other funders to come on board to ensure the program continues after March 31st, 2026. Hint, hint. So Civics for Kids, it's a very popular workbook for children teaching lessons on civic engagement. Business Watch has had new courses added, and we explored new connections. And after 1 year of the Peel Police funded Countering Hate in our community, we have met the grant goals and exceeded them. Our opportunities for improvement include funding the older adult and senior service area, adding program staff for capacity, and to work towards sustainable funding sources. Safe City Mississauga works collaboratively with community partners to confront today's key crime concerns, such as Peel Regional Police for crime analysis and Region Appeal, DME, action table. We have 3 service areas, and the first one is neighborhoods. And our Neighborhood Watch is driven by evidence and data to maximize effectiveness. In 2024, we activated or reactivated 62 neighborhood watches and now serve almost 6,000 active members. With the help of mayor, members of council, we have residents from all ages and demographics participating in crime prevention activities across the city. Crime analysis supports that effort made by everyday, ordinary people can make a difference in reducing crime in watch neighborhoods. But how do they feel? Well, based on our annual survey, they are getting to know the people on the street, the actual neighborhood, and they feel safer in the neighborhood. With a goal of 85% or better, there is an opportunity for improvement and continuity of volunteer management. The continuity will allow us to increase communication, hold more community events, conduct more volunteer training, enhance visibility of team leads, and most important, quickly respond to their request. Training for team leads resumed in 2024 for the amazing volunteers in the community that step up and support all the members of their watch community. To do watch activities which support the outcomes for a safer neighborhood. The Neighbors Night Out activity is always a successful event to get to know your neighbor. And in 2024, Loblaws came on board donating $100 gift cards for these food events. These were the 15 Neighbor Night Out events in 2024. And then we have Operation Clean Sweep, which is the rapid removal and cleanup of graffiti and litter to help reduce criminal activity. And the third is our charity drives, which are a great activity for building community. Our business watch, as I said, had to take a back burner due to capacity, but we were able to develop 5 new courses to be delivered in person and accessible on the new Safe City app. So moving on to youth services. School Watch is about making informed, safe, and responsible decisions as youth navigate adulthood. And in 2024, the program introduced personal safety workshops, emphasizing situational awareness, healthy boundaries, and risk management. Operation Clean Sweep is a great way for youth to take responsibility for their school grounds and earn volunteer hours required for graduation. And this is how they feel about learning a few life skills. Pretty good scores. The Civics for Kids program is gaining new heroes, and this young hero distributed over 100 Civics for Kids workbooks. And with the ability to customize, other charities are helping us to reach more kids than we could alone. We now have a partnered service. In 2024, we took the Countering Hate Train the Trainer course on the road, shared in the Community Award, and expanded the course to youth. In 2024, the Safe City Board of Directors approved a senior service area. This service area will examine and identify measures to reduce crimes against seniors. And the focus is going to be on senior bullying, and that's senior to senior bullying. And yes, that's a real thing and it's a real problem. And the focus will also be on fraud. Besides programs, we also planned and attend numerous events, welcoming every opportunity to spread awareness and sharing in the common goal of community safety and well-being. In 2024, the International Conference Safety of Our Cities was hosted by Peel Regional Police, and it became, for all intents and purposes, our 13th Annual Crime Prevention Conference. And that's where we held the annual Hero Awards. We celebrated Mississauga residents making a difference in crime prevention. And our individual Hero Award winner was Mark Poirier. Youth Hero Award winner was Selena Shoup. And Organization Group Award winner was Testimony Square Neighborhood Watch. We strive to establish financial stability so we can concentrate on delivering programs, events, and community collaborations. We have added an annual giving campaign that allows anyone to be in the fight against crime because we all love Mississauga. Our social enterprise, The Shop, so you can download these worksheets, and charitable gaming, which allowed us to add part-time activity coordinators to the Neighborhood Watch program. We did a completely new website, making it more user-friendly. We took to the airwaves. We refreshed the once crime prevention management system into a friendly and engaging Safe City app. This is the team that served over 9,000 members with program projects, events, and partnerships. Lots of partnerships. And we get incredible support from our skilled and talented board of directors. And of course, from our generous supporters. With a focus on today's efforts, for tomorrow's impact, we thank you for the opportunity to tell you a little bit more about Safe City Mississauga.
Thank you, Teresa, for your presentation.
You're welcome.
Anyone have questions?
Gerald, do you want to stop sharing? There you go.
Del Rosario? Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Teresa and Gerald and Laura for making the presentation. It's always great to hear what activities Safe City Mississauga is up to. I do have questions, and because I'm not sure, I know you were going into some of our schools. Can you tell me how many of our secondary schools participated last year or participating this year?
Absolutely. I'm going to turn that over, probably since it's last year, I'll turn it over to Lauren. She may have that more fresh in her head as for last year.
I don't have the list open right now, but a handful of them at least.
So sorry, but no, we don't have an answer for you right now. We will get that for you. But yes, we are in some of your schools.
Okay, so through the chair, so right now, is it currently that you have a few of our schools that you are working with, or that was last year?
Yeah, we're still working in some of your schools, and we're an approved external presenter with your board.
Thank you, through the chair. I have a couple more questions. So do you go to elementary schools or any of your presentations?
Thank you. And through the chair, no, our program at this time has served secondary schools in the city of Mississauga.
So through the chair, the civics for the civics one that you had a presentation on, isn't that for elementary school? Or is it for not related to school? Or what does that mean?
So the Civics for Kids is a workbook to just help engage children in what it's about to be in a safe community and how to contribute to that community. We have not approached any of the schools to take it into the elementary school. The one little boy that you saw in the presentation, he actually went to his school He asked his teacher, the teacher asked the principal, and they both agreed that yes, this is a good book for the class, and they authorized him to bring it in. We would love to have anyone look at the Civics for Kids workbook. We know that everything has to be tested and retested to be brought into the school. And if you welcome the idea of the Civics for Kids workbook, we would be happy to put that in the elementary schools.
Thank you. Just one last question to the chair. The online shop where you have workbooks for math, English, is that like a tutoring program that you have? Did that replace Aspire?
Through the chair, yes, it did. So when the school boards got into or started the tutoring during the COVID, it didn't make sense. We do not duplicate. So we shut our Aspire program down and we converted all the resources to tutoring worksheets that people can download.
So just a follow-up, Mr. Chair. Is this workbooks that you have, is that something that the schools can use, or did it get approved as part of curriculum kind of thing?
Again, through the chair, we would be happy to have that reviewed and would love to provide that for any of the teachers that would like to have that workbook for their classrooms. And it's a civics book, so it's civics for kids. And I know that I think we start civics, what grade, 10th? Yeah, 10th grade. So this is like a primer, get them ready.
Or elementary, okay. Well, thank you, Teresa. Thank you, Gerald and Laura. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Trustee Anika, you have a question?
Thank you. And again, thank you to the committee representing Teresa. Thank you. If we were to review the book, how many copies would you be able to supply? Is it one per school or one per child within a specific grade element?
Through the chair, yes, it would be through the teachers just telling us how many they need for their class. We would print those off and bring them to the teacher to distribute. Or we can be there with them if they would like. So they're running, now that we have our own in-house printer, they're running about $1.60 each, which is a hugely reduced cost from what they were. But we've been so fortunate because the customizable cover that like the Streetsville Legion has done, I think they did like 2,000, the Lions Club, and Mississauga Rotary. So lots of the civic organizations have seen the value in reaching our young children and starting to teach and talk to them about civic responsibility. They're never too young to start learning about civic responsibility. So we have great support from different funders to help support the purchase of the book. But of course, the school board is always welcome to also assist in the production of the print run.
So if I were to say, assuming that class approved by the board, class or three classes totaling 100, would the cost to the school be $160? Do the kids pay for them $1.60 a piece?
So we would never ask the child to pay for it. You can actually, I think we also have it downloadable PDF on our website. So if the teacher wanted, they could simply print them off on PDF and make copies for everybody. We want everybody to have them, so we're not asking for money for them. It's more important to get the books into the kids' hands.
I mean, I would agree with my colleague, Trustee Del Rosario. The sooner you get them in, as soon as elementary kids start to think about it,
Yeah,
now you've already got an audience for secondary.
exactly.
and it just continues to multiply. And it's not just one or two kids in elementary that may be, you know, enticed or enthused with it, that now when they get to high school, they're already aware of the program, they're already aware of the benefits and everything else that comes with it. I think I'm going to ask the same question that my colleague. Could you send a copy to the Director of Education, Dr. Mary Ann Mazzarato?
Yes.
You know the address. And then if you could send a couple, I would greatly appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And then what we could do is our staff could go through it and, you know, I mean, everything that you said, I won't repeat because I'm on the same page as you, as my colleagues are. But we would be able to vent the book and determine if it's appropriate. And then, of course, you know, whether the teacher does it by printing all of the book for 30 kids, or if they do a online class,
There you go.
just do a presentation and start, you know, they might start their own civics class in elementary. You don't know, right? There's
That would be
possibilities. So
great.
if, you know, if you could send a couple of books, it would greatly be appreciated. And that way we can do our due diligence and move forward. With respect to secondary, what would be your ask, if I may?
Yes, so the ask currently for this year, School Watch is $81,000, and that's what it's going to cost to run the program this year. The Region Appeal has already picked up the youth services manager, so they support that position. So we're not looking for that. We're just looking for the School Watch coordinator, and that's 63,000 with Merck and benefits. And then the balance is about 23,000, and that's for the program materials.
So you'd be asking for each element at each secondary school, 81,000? Did I have that right?
No, 81,000 for us to do as many schools as you bring to us.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Trustee Anika. I have Trustee Del Rosario with another question.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just as a follow-up question, the cost of the civics for kids booklets and the School Watch for secondary, are you not able to put that as a wish list to the bingo funds that you have?
Great question. So presently in this year, because we did not receive the funding that we needed for the Neighborhood Watch program, we've have that allocated to the Rama Gaming Funds for this year. We are in a position where the City Council did agree that we were to become a service contract. We're in negotiations working that contract out right now, and they want to fully fund Neighborhood Watch. When that happens, then in 2026, that will free up the Rama Gaming Funds to then be applied to other areas that are experiencing underfunding. And one of those areas, of course, you know, we're going to want to do everything we can after being in this Building Safer Communities Fund grant for the last 3 years. We want to keep that great work going. You saw the evaluations. They're almost hitting 90%. Like, the kids are telling us that they're getting this. So we want to keep that going and not lose that momentum. So at that point, then yes, we would do what we have to do, whether that's some of the Rama monies. And at this point, I'm starting to ask everyone, because the funding does end in March. Or April 1st of 2026. And I know people need long runways to make these kind of decisions. Okay. And then we also have the New Peel Police Foundation. So who knows, it may be something that they also want to help support.
Right, thank you. So I was just gonna say, if it happens in between, you could always ask for a separate request from bingo. And it's gonna be for the benefit of students and the safety of our community. I think the charity gaming committee will really consider that, I think.
I will definitely go and make that pitch to them for the April 1st, 2026.
Yes, yes. Thank you.
Thank you. I love all these suggestions.
Yeah, just send us the books, I think the civics for kids, and then our staff can review and then get back.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Trustee Del Rosario. Thank you, Teresa and team, for the presentation. And you have a good evening. Next item on the agenda is a delegation. Shania Samuel, you please come to the podium. Welcome and thank you for your delegation to the Administration Finance Committee meeting. I will review a few points related to the rules and process related to delegations. You will have 5 minutes to make your presentation. This will be timed. We will signal you when there's 1 minute remaining. If you intend to use or begin to use the name, title, position of a staff member or any personnel or other information with respect to another person, including a member of the board or committee, or a pupil or their parent or guardian, I will rule that you must address the committee of the whole in an in-camera session. Delegates can be critical of board decisions or make submissions with respect to a recommendation or decision. However, I will rule that your delegation is out of order and end the delegation if either of the following occurs. The information in your oral speech is significantly different than the written speech provided. Your speech, notes, and/or other material contain, or if you begin to use language that constitutes an invasion of privacy, breach of confidentiality, defamation of character, or is obscene, or discrimination against an individual or group of individuals based on a protected ground under the Ontario Human Rights Code. Once you have completed your presentation, trustees will be given an opportunity to ask you questions of clarifications related to your presentation. Once questions of clarifications from trustees are complete, your role in the delegation will be concluded and you will be asked to leave the podium and take your seat in the gallery. At this point, trustees may choose to debate the issue and may ask questions of staff. It is important to be aware that a decision will not be made on the issue at this meeting. If there are no questions, please proceed with your delegation.
Good evening, Financial Committee. My name is Shania Samuel, and I'm a senator at Holy Name of Mary Catholic Secondary School. Today, I speak on behalf of the students and families to address the long-ignored issue of transportation. How can we claim to support Catholic education when barriers like transportation make it nearly impossible for students to attend a Catholic school? In Dufferin Peel, students who live 3.8 kilometers away qualify for busing. When buses aren't full, students can request courtesy seating, free of charge. Yet, students at Holy Name of Mary are excluded from this. Our families pay over $3,000 per child annually just to receive busing. This cost has created inequity and has denied multiple girls to access a quality Catholic education. Some students, some as young as 13, place themselves in vulnerable situations when they leave home as early as 6 a.m. to walk in the cold, dark winter months just to take public transit. Meanwhile, buses with students who receive courtesy seating drive directly past us and are headed to St. Thomas Aquinas, which is simply just 1 kilometer away from our location. In 2008, our school was relocated from Mississauga to Brampton. This has alienated Mississauga families, and enrollment has dropped ever since. In 2008, we've had over 800 students. That number has dropped to a whopping 476, with projections showing a further decline for September with 451 students. The board claims that there's no money, and yet it continues to support free busing for students and families at St. Sophia, a regional elementary school in Mississauga. Is there a reason why we were not afforded the same? Why is a gender-specific school not as relevant as an Eastern Orthodox school? Some argue that Holy Name is like other regional schools where students have to find their own way. To this, I would simply say that it's not a fair comparison because students have several options when it comes to regional programs. They can choose between St. Paul, Xavier, and Notre Dame if they want an IB program, Iona, Aquinas, and St. Roch if they want the arts program, or St. Joseph's and Campion if they want the AP program. But when it comes to an all-girls education, there's only one choice and one location. Declining enrollment means that our school is running under capacity and the board loses its funding. While Peel is offering free transportation to grade 9 and 10 students in all regional programs, you are refusing to consider doing the same. You are placing barriers for students to select a Catholic education. So I ask you, are you comfortable letting girls choose public and private education simply because you refuse to provide them needed access? Not only are you missing out on an opportunity to develop a niche school that provides something that Peel does not, you are sending a clear message. Not all Catholic schools in Dufferin Peel are considered equal. All girls schools are not only relevant, but I would say that they're an absolute necessity. Research shows that there is a higher academic achievement in all girls schools, greater STEM participation, and a stronger sense of community. As adolescent girls face a growing mental health crisis with anxiety, depression, and suicidal thoughts, an all-girls school continues to provide a learning environment that is free from gender-based social pressures. Despite your lack of interest and support, we continue to excel. In 2023-24, Holy Name ranked first out of all Catholic high schools in Brampton with an overall rating of 8 out of 10 and third out of all public and Catholic schools in Brampton. When we include all Catholic and public schools in Mississauga, Holy Name is ranked 5th overall. Sadly, this past year, our rankings have decreased, but this is not surprising. After all, the public does not look favorably when great teachers are constantly surplused and the school must slash its programming. If Dufferin Peel truly values Catholic education and supports equitable access, it must support schools like Holy Name. Without busing, our numbers will continue to decrease to levels that are simply not sustainable for a high school. Like Peel, I ask that you find creative solutions to fund transportation so that all girls can have equal access to a school that you agreed to maintain back in 2008. The question now remains, will you choose to support excellence, or will you ignore the obvious at the detriment of both Catholic and quality education? Thank you so much for listening to me.
Finish clapping? Thank you, Shania. Shania Sanders, thank you. Do trustees have any questions? Go ahead, trustee Pascucci.
Good. In regards to your comment in terms of why we have Saint Sophia and why we have Holy Name, you would not know the context of that, and I do, I applaud, and if you don't, I really understand. Many years ago, this board was taken under supervision. Said we can make it better. This is what the ministry said. They actually had somebody come in from the ministry, and he was with us a good period of time. And he said at that time, his name was Mr. Hartman, I believe. He said at that time, St. Sophia has a right to go to a school that has busing because it is not a school of choice. Holy Name of Mary is a school of choice, therefore no busing would be. That is the context, and I respect mentioning it to you because you may not know this. It's not the idea we want to move the solution just to put a school somewhere, not somewhere else. But the idea is that this was the Ministry of Education who came in at that time, made the analysis. I'm going to stop there right now and see if there's any.
Thank you, Trustee Pascucci. Do we have any other questions? Being none, thank you, Shania.
Thank you
for your
so
presence.
much.
Do trustees have any questions of staff? Trustee Nika?
Mr. Chairman, my recollection is, it might be wrong. Does staff know offhand what the cost of transportation for Holy Name would be approximately?
Through the chair, in preparation for the presentation, Stopper provided an estimate, and you have to remember that students are coming from all over the region. On average, on an annual basis, it would be anywhere between 850 and $850,000 and $1 million to bus the students.
And if I could, Mr. Chairman, what was the shortfall in transportation budget this year for Dufferin Peel, excluding the app because it's not included? Does staff have an idea?
Yes, through the chair, in our revised estimates, it's an estimate of about 5.9 million right now,
Shortfall.
shortfall.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Trustee Nika. We have Trustee Stefano Pascucci.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you. There was mention in the delegate's presentation that Peel is providing busing to regional programs. Not saying that Holy Name is a regional program or not, but can we also look at that as well? If Peel's finding some way of sourcing funding from the ministry regarding regional programs, something that maybe we can either piggyback on our other schools that have regional programs, or even possibly look at expanding the program.
Through the chair, we've been actively working through StopR, going at the ministry to fund transportation to our regional programs. So we haven't heard back yet, and any updates we get, I'll absolutely share with the trustees, but we've been advocating on the board's behalf through StopR as they put in for their funding for next year.
Thank you very much. And through you, Mr. Chairman, a second question. To staff, and again, the delegate made the comment of school buses are going across, passing students on a Holy Name. How many additional buses would we, and I'm not going to ask you for an actual number, how many additional buses do you think we would need percentage-wise in order to accommodate the additional courtesy seating that would add another stop to Holy Name and then go on to St. Thomas Aquinas or some other school in the area?
The chair, I couldn't even estimate a number of additional buses at the moment, but I would say that the routing system doesn't account for an additional stop. So any bus that's going to whatever high school, if they have to make a stop or pick up students and stop at Holy Name of Mary, that would be an extra stop on the run, which would push that run.
Fully separate program altogether.
Yeah. So, I mean, we can estimate, I can ask StopR to estimate that, but off the top of my head, I'm not certain how many additional buses that would require.
Well, just the very fact, and to you, Mr. Chairman, to staff, just the very fact that you've said that it just doesn't set up that way. That means a totally separate system, or totally separate section of our buses in the morning. It's like what St. Sophia is, and so on and so forth. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, staff.
Thank you, Trustee. Mario Pascucci.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Question to staff. Notices here, it says in the application registration for delegations, it says the individual, thankfully, came out, and we do appreciate it. Says, I wish to speak only on my behalf, but I believe at the beginning of her presentation, she said she was speaking on behalf of the name. Do we correct that? Do we correct?
Through the chair, I don't recall. I know the delegate was up here and it's probably better to address that question.
Thank you, Trustee Pascucci. Move to Section D, reports from trustees for receipt. We have an Ontario Catholic School Trustee Association report.
we make sure all our votes are available to us, collected, so we can bring them to the event and get ourselves recognized to have get it all board, virtually at least.
Trustee Del Rosario?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. For this AGM, there's really no voting that we have to do. Our region, we don't have to vote. So we do encourage you to come and join us at this conference, which will be held on May 1 to 3. So if you have not signed up yet, please let Michelle know. It will be held at the Hilton Toronto Markham Suites on May 1st to the 3rd. But one important thing that's happening in this meeting is there will be an opportunity for regional groups to meet, so the Central, East, West, Northeast, and Northwest. In preparation for these meetings, so Catholic trustees are asked to come prepared to discuss topics of concern to their respective boards. So if we have any concerns, please let me know, so we could bring it to the table. And all of you who are attending the conference are welcome to attend that session. It will be held on May 1st, 2:30 to 4 p.m. As part of the conference. So if you have any concerns, what I just want to ask, for those who are not attending, please let me know if you have any concerns that we could bring to the table. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Del Rosario. Next item on the agenda are good news items. Do you have any good news items? Seeing none, we come to reports from committees and administration for receipt. Minutes of the Stopper Governance Committee meeting dated January 30th, 2025.
Through the chair, they're there for receipt. If there are any questions regarding the minutes, myself and Superintendent Mariah are available for questions.
Any questions from trustees? Seeing none, the next item on the agenda is extended excursion, DCA International Career Development Conference, Spring 2025. Superintendent Kusumano.
Through the chair, good evening, everyone. Outside of the typical spring and fall extended excursion reports presented to the Board of Trustees, I'm happy to share this evening report which summarizes the presentations made by schools participating in the DECA International Career Development Conference and Competition being held in Orlando, Florida on April 26th to the 29th. We are proud to report that 58 Dufferin Peel secondary students who are members of their school's DECA club qualified to participate in DECA's 2025 international competition. The Extended Excursions Committee met on February 27th and March 25th, 2025 to receive presentations from the following 6 participating secondary schools: St. Francis Xavier, St. Marcellinus, Cardinal Leger, St. Augustine, Loyola, and Notre Dame Catholic Secondary School. To keep costs to a minimum, participating schools collaborated to ensure 6 staff chaperones were coordinated to accompany our students on this excursion. This meets the required 1-to-10 staff-student supervision ratio. Among several items, the Extended Excursion Committee reviewed the following details and expectations with the presenters. School proposals included all required components, rationale, documentation, itinerary, budget, and approved tour operator information. That the Catholic faith is reflected in the itinerary for the proposed trip, including an expectation that all students and supervisors attend a Catholic Mass on all Sundays during the trip. That appropriate steps are in place to ensure that students have opportunities to make up any assignments or assessments that may occur during the missed instruction those days due to the extended excursion. That a communication plan is in place for supervisors, students, and parents, guardians throughout the trip. The plan must be made available to parents. That all participants purchase cancellation insurance and that all participants have mandatory medical and insurance appropriate to the excursion. And excursion leaders and principals will continue to monitor the latest travel advisory reports through the Government of Canada Travel and Tourism site. Appendix A attached to the report summarizes the school's request for extended excursions presented this evening for receipt. Note, the cost of trip per student may vary from school to school due to local school fundraising and the costs associated with the number of chaperones attending per school. In conclusion, Dufferin PO has a rich tradition of offering students an opportunity to participate in extended excursions as an enhancement to their regular program of study. Local schools offer these through educational travel, social justice, and special programs. We wish to congratulate our students on their success with DECA provincial competitions and wish them well as they prepare to participate in the DECA International Career Development Conference and competition. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Superintendent Kusumanu. Do we have any questions? Seeing none. Next item on the agenda is cost analysis for additional secondary school student monitors. Superintendent Odo.
Good evening, and through the chair. At the March 2025 board meeting, DPCDSB trustees discussed concerns regarding student safety, vaping and/or drug use, and acts of vandalism and/or damage in school washrooms. Feedback from secondary school administrators suggested that students access these spaces and engage in inappropriate behaviors as there are no cameras or other means of supervision or surveillance. Administrators consulted for this report confirmed the following issues in school washrooms: graffiti and vandalism, vaping, eating, fighting, sexual activity, and inappropriate use of mobile phones, including filming of students using stalls from above and posting to social media sites. Anecdotal feedback from elementary administrators reported similar issues, as well as students locking stall doors to prevent access, clogging sinks and toilets with paper towel, lunches, or other items, and toilet papering the washrooms. In response to the concerns, staff committed to examining costs related to hiring secondary school student monitors to discourage inappropriate behavior in school washrooms, such as the vaping, bullying, and vandalism. Secondary administrators recommended that these proposed staff be employed for full school days, or at least for between periods 1B and 4A. Additionally, administrators indicated that it was essential that males be recruited for these positions, as well as females, to ensure supervision of boys' washrooms, and that these staff be able to establish positive connections with students. Costs for the proposed staff have been calculated based on current school year wages paid to student monitors. Minimum wages expected to increase in 2025-2026. Staff also calculated preliminary costs for these additional student monitors based on the following criteria: 2 student monitors, 1 male and 1 female, per secondary school. Monitors on duty for 5, 6, and 7 hours per day. 170 instructional days in which students are expected to be in school for all or most of the school day. An addition of 4% vacation pay and other statutory benefits at approximately 9.5%. DPCDSB contribution share to OMERS as applicable. Training, security access cards, and equipment where needed. Based on the above information, staff have concluded that the addition of 2 student monitors per secondary school would range from approximately $866,000 per year for a 5-hour shift to $1.2 million per year for a 7-hour shift each day. Additional costs may also be associated with this role based on the nature of the work. It may be also difficult to recruit student monitors willing and/or able to manage student interactions and discipline. As such, if the nature of the role necessitates additional requirements, training, and/or certificates, then increases in salary or wage level may be warranted. As trustees are aware, DPCDSB operates under a deficit position, and there is currently no funding source identified to cover the cost of adding additional staff. That concludes the report. I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Superintendent Odo. We have Trustee Nika.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was hoping it was going to be a little different. But my question, I'll start with this. If we're allocating 2, a male and a female, to every secondary school, some schools are significantly bigger than other schools. I would find that to be a little unfair, first of all, because some of the larger schools, and I know staff is just doing a presentation and everything else. I'm a little bit disappointed because although it addresses the issue, it addresses the cost of the issue and what can be done, doesn't address the issue. I mean, just in the past 2 weeks, I have dealt with one secondary school which has everything that the superintendent mentioned and some. And it's a challenge. I mean, I would only say to anybody that wants to listen, if you've ever had to go to the bathroom and had no place to go or feel safe to go, what would you do? I mean, we're not in that situation or that predicament at the board office, or in elementary for that matter. But in secondary school, I sent a concern to one of the secondary schools that I represent with 2 other trustees, to the principal, and because the teacher, you know, maybe the teacher, and I give the benefit of the doubt, didn't understand why the person was late. Maybe they didn't want to tell them, but they were close enough that they could go home. But if you're not, and the shenanigans go on in the bathroom, I mean, I think that the ministry has their head up their rear end because they just don't get the challenges that are starting to happen in our schools. I don't think that they understand the challenges that our administrator are experiencing, or the children that are experiencing these challenges by a handful. I mean, I would prefer to come up with a hard line and say, you get caught doing this, it's an automatic whatever. Because I can't continue to go to council meetings or receive phone calls from some, not all of the secondary schools, but I will tell you, of the ones that I have, I've received them on a regular basis from at minimum 2, and I've gotten it both barrels at both of those schools. So I'm concerned that, you know, is there something, I mean, we just finished having a conversation about the budget. So to say we'll find the money is unrealistic, because if staff could find the money, I'm sure staff would do it. But if you look at the cost, it's about $35,000 per school, per person. But at the end of the day, we need to do something. And I know staff's hands are tied, but I mean, this is not good for the health and well-being of kids. Because I'll say it again, if you had to go and you waited all day to go to the bathroom, and then when you got home, it's unacceptable. And I know that staff thinks it's acceptable. I know that as a fact that they do not. But is there something that we can do from a discipline perspective where we can say, tell all kids? Because some of the examples that the superintendent gave is literally just being disrespectful, in the fact of you're taking a picture of somebody in the bathroom over the stall, or you're filling up the toilet with toilet paper, so the next person that goes in there can't go, and if they do, the water flushes right up. You know, I mean, these are childish things, and I have no problem with issuing immediate suspensions for stuff like that. I have no problem, and if the parents want to appeal it, then I have no problem sitting on those either. I'm at a loss because parents have said, I can't deal with this anymore. And I know it's not just Dufferin Peel. I know that Peel Board has the same challenges and opportunities. Is there anything that we can do for the principal to say, I mean, there's a handful of kids that are challenges. And those are the kids that I'd like to deal with swiftly and harshly. I'll be very honest with you. I have no time and no time at all for that type of disrespect to other people. And to me, it's totally disrespectful, totally. So if staff can tell me a good reason, and you know, I mean, the ministry, God forbid, you send them an email with the information, as Bruce did, and what do you get? Received. Great. What are you going to do about it? Like, I'm not sure that all of our secondary schools are as bad as at least two of them that I've dealt with in the last little bit. One not as much, and the administration of the other school didn't indicate that there was a significant issue. But I feel like my hands are tied, and I have nothing but to say to parents, well, it's going to cost $866 to $1.2 million that we don't have. I'm sorry.
Through the chair, we continue, like, that doesn't mean that we're not continuing to monitor the situation and do that, all that we can within the resources that we have. You might also be reminded that last week a letter did go out to all of our parents, helping our parents understand that we had some real concern about what was going on in the washrooms. I will loop back around with the principals in the next week or so to see whether or not that's made any kind of market difference in terms of what they were seeing happening in the washrooms.
A letter, if I could, Mr. Chairman, a letter to the parents. Great. Some parents read it, and the ones that read it aren't the ones that it's really directed to for the most part. Have we done an assembly in an assembly period to speak to that issue, to say this will no longer be tolerated? And if you do, these are the consequences. Can we come up with something from a disciplinary perspective to do it? And I don't care about constitutional rights anymore. I really don't. They have no right to treat other kids that way. They have no right to tear doors off bathrooms. They have no right to put toilet paper down the toilet in rolls, and they have no right to kick the urinals off the wall or kick the toilets so that they break. They have no, that's not a right. There's a right to be able to go to the bathroom peacefully without fear. And I would prefer that, I'd like to see a policy that says if you get caught, and I know catching them is I mean, there's no cameras, so you can't say it was you, right? But this is such a human dignity thing that it bothers me that much. It bothers me so much that I have to raise it over and over and over. And the fact that the ministry hasn't even responded tells me that they don't care. We care, but we don't have enough money to action it. I don't know. I'm at a loss. I'll be honest with you. You know, Mr. Chairman, to you, the director, I'm at a loss. I don't know what to say to parents anymore. I really, other than getting this copy in a single one report, if I could have staff send it to all trustees, just this report as is, and sending it to parents. I know the next time I go to a council meeting, I'm going to get raked on this. Not just me, and I'm not special. I think all of us will if we raise it with our communities. You know, and they'll have 1,000 ideas. And some of the ideas that Trustee Mario Pascucci and I heard, I mean, some of them were unrealistic, but at this point in time, people are grasping at suggestions. This tells me that we're going to, we understand there's an issue. We understand that this is what we want to do. We understand this is the cost, but we don't have the money, so we just understand. And it continues to happen. Through no ill will of anybody in this room or anybody in the secondary school. I think our administrators suffer from this just as much as everybody else does, because they're the ones that have to put up with the the constant, I'm sorry. Tonight's been a frustrating night. First with the 5 o'clock and now with this, although this kind of raised the hair on the back of my head on Sunday when I read it and I knew it was coming. It just doesn't help. It tells me it's going to be 866,000, 1.2 million.
Through the chair, that was what was requested of staff, to bring forward a report with an approximate cost of what it would cost to put student monitors in classrooms. And that's what we've done. I will share with you that, we had a couple of situations this year where we temporarily had to put additional student monitors at a school because of some circumstances. And in speaking to that principal, he did speak about the impact that had. So we can't discount the fact that if we had additional adults in our schools, that it could in and of itself be a deterrent. This is why some of our administrators are doing their best to be a lot more visible in the hallways. But the reality is that you can't expect our administrators, with everything else on their plate, to be also wandering the hallways every day. But we know that, more visibility does result in more of a deterrent. I think a couple of years ago, we had to send a letter to our parents about some inappropriate activity leading up to the end of June. That also had some warnings in it. And this letter we sent last week also warned that if there was, vandalism or inappropriate behavior, there would be consequences. And that was a deterrent a couple of years ago. We can only hope that what we sent last week is also a deterrent. So I'll loop it back around with the administrators to see whether or not that's helped. We understand that that's not going to be the only solution. But we're doing everything we can with the resources we have. And I know it's not the answer that trustees want. But we simply do not have a budget line to pay for additional student monitors at this time.
If I could, Mr. Chairman, it's not the answer that we want, but that in reality is the answer. You know what I mean? Like that it is what it is. Do we like it? I'll tell you from my perspective, no. I don't think it does nothing. It does nothing to help the kids. Maybe in your after the board meeting at the end of the month, when you have your meetings, or superintendents can raise it with the administrators, that if somebody is late coming back from wherever because they had to go to the bathroom, then give it a pass, assuming that they did go, and you kind of know the kids that do and the kids that don't. Principals are pretty astute when it comes to kind of stuff, but I just feel for these kids. I really do. So for me, I appreciate, but if staff, again, if superintendents, I don't want to give them something else to do considering everything that they do, but if they can get an idea of the secondary schools and what level they would place their damage, would it be high? Would it be medium? Would it be low? Low, I'm not too worried about. Medium, the high, there's a challenge at the school, right? And I agree, Marianne, our administrators aren't paid what they're paid to look after bathroom duty. That's not their job. Their job is to ensure that the school runs smoothly. And although the bathroom is quote unquote part of it, but it's not their job. They can't stand in the bathroom waiting for somebody to come in and out. In some cases, when people do come out of there, there's a puff of smoke that hits you in the face from so many kids vaping. So if staff could send this report alone to trustees, then, we'd be able to email it to our constituency and we'll take the fallout next time we're there. It's what it is. But if staff could follow up again, I would most graciously appreciate it.
Through the chair, we will.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, trustee Anika. We have trustee Stefano Pascucci, followed by trustee Mario.
Mr. Chairman, I thought I saw Mario's hand first.
For you? Okay.
If he wants to go
Trustee Mario
first.
Pascucci, please go.
Thank you, trustee Pascucci. The idea right up front, as a trustee in the area, where it's 1 and 3, this is zero tolerance for me. If a student is doing something that's not appropriate to the community itself, let alone the idea of respect, which is in our multi-year strategic plan, in terms of trust, et cetera, they've been actually 2 strikes against them. And frankly, throw the book. I have no time for this. Just get rid of them and they have to learn that there are consequences. That's a full stop, if you will. The second thing is the audit. I believe we were going to take an audit of the schools. That was part of the consideration. You did a great job here in the turnaround time. Daniel, I guess it's through you, Mr. Chairman, through Daniel, are we doing an audit of the schools still?
Sir, yes, through the chair, through the Planning and Operations
Still in
Department, we're
place.
doing a survey. It just takes a little bit
Oh,
longer.
no, I
to
understand,
turn around.
but we're doing, didn't see that here. I want to make sure. And by the way, this $800,000+, which is not, wish we had it. What the report here doesn't show how much it costs to fix the problems we already have. So it's, again, thanks for part of the money, give you the money next birthday. So the fact of the matter is that it does not include the cost to fix. And that goes back to what trustee Nico was talking about, the ministry listening to us. Thank you, staff, for a very thorough report in such a short time. Thank you.
Thank you, trustee Mario Pascucci. Now we have trustee Stefano Pascucci.
Thank you very much. Through you, Mr. Chairman, sort of piggyback off what trustee Bruno-Nika mentioned about 1 or 2 people in a high school. Let's face it, you're going to need more than 1 or 2 people. So let's just call it what it is, 1.6 million to 2.4 million to have 4 people, and double that some more, because not all high schools have 1 washroom, 2 per floor. So let's even call it $8.8 million a year to do it. So that's unfortunate, that the fact that the government doesn't want to provide us any additional funding to secure our kids and allow them to go to the washroom and not have to run home, not have to incur extra costs to go to the washroom. It would be interesting, actually, if we could invite our MPPs into our high schools and say, come look at the washrooms. We provide you guys, if we reached out, we haven't heard back, come in. They're not working. I think they're off April 21st to 28th or something like that. Be a great time for them to go visit the community. Some of them are brand new. Some of them were reelected for a 2nd or 3rd time. They should really see what's happening in their schools and how their kids who live in their areas are actually experiencing life. I guess a question to staff through you, Mr. Chairman. 2 questions. Have we gotten any additional information from the government regarding vape detector money that they've promised to us? Was it 4 or 5 months ago?
Through the chair, yes. I think we were provided approximately $300,000 or $350,000. It's taken a while to procure them because we have a number of schools in the province that are all procuring from the same place, but we are starting to receive our shipments, and you will soon see an item in issues and events with regards to how that rollout is going to take place over the coming months.
And so through you, Mr. Chairman, to Associate Director Del Bianco, everybody's ordering from the same person?
Through the chair, they're centrally procured by the government. So we're
And how much are they costing per?
I'm not certain, maybe superintendent.
And does that include installation?
No.
Of course not.
So the 350 is really not going to go very, very long.
I was just about to ask you, how many did that get us? It's 350 divided by how many schools we have divided by 6. We'll find out what the cost would be. Sorry, to staff, I didn't actually.
Yeah,
guys'
through the
questions
through the
beforehand.
chair, we're targeting 5 schools to get done before the end of June of this year with the money. And that includes installations. We need network drops, procurement of the units, which is in process right now. And we're going to start with that work. And then whatever's left, we're going to continue. It's a 3-year program that the government has funded us for. So every secondary school will have them
$350,000 over 3 years or $350,000 per year?
each year. Yeah.
Oh, even better.
Yeah.
That's positive news. So,
Through the chair, there's always two components to it. There's the installation of them, getting them up and running, and then what happens when they actually go
Go
off,
off.
right? So we're working closely with the Secondary PVP Association to not only work on deployment and installation, but procedure as to what happens in the event that they do go off and how we manage that.
I'm envisioning the doors locking and they can't get out. But I know that's contrary to human rights and you can't make anybody stay, whatever, we're not going to go there. Regarding monitors, so I'm not going to ask for students to become monitors for us, but is there any way that we can, looking at doing a QR code that the student can, because let's face it, high school students still have their phones on them. A QR code that they can discreetly click or take a picture of on the wall right beside the washroom, and then an email gets sent to the principal. I don't know. It just, more eyes. I don't know, like something.
Absolutely. We can look into it and see where we can place them or if that's even viable. We're working with our administrators closely on this one to make sure what we're proposing actually works well when we deploy it to a school.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Steph.
Thank you, Trustee Stefano Pascucci. Do we have any more questions? Nika?
Mr. Chairman, if, I know, what about a smoke detector? Would that, if I'm vaping in a bathroom, is that just, well, when people come out of the bathroom, it's like a cloud. So I'm gonna say, yeah, it is smoke. So I'm wondering if a smoke detector would work for a vape.
Through the chair, I have no direct experience in any of this. From what I understand, though, kind of the molecular structure of smoke is different than what comes off a vape.
Okay, all right.
Unless you take the power. Are they further questions? No?
Schools, the projected schools?
Through the chair, yes, the strategy as it rolls out very shortly.
Okay, because that way we can at least relay that to our communities. Thank you.
And probably if you can put in issues and events, what kind of smoke comes out of a cigarette and what
We could
comes-
put the science behind that. We'll have to tap into people that know.
Because Trustee Del Rosario wants to understand what comes out of a vape and what comes out of a cigarette.
Sure, absolutely.
All right, so if there are no more questions, we move to the next order of business, which is the interim financial report as at February 28, 2025. Executive Superintendent Cherry Packer.
Thank you. Through the chair, trustees around the table may recall that when we bring these reports forward, it's usually at a 4-month period and at an 8-month period in the year. That's a requirement from the ministry. What we've done here with this report is introduced a new one at a 6-month period, so kind of halfway through the year. For many reasons. One, so that our trustees have more opportunities to see the financial position of the board. 2, it seems like a very good time frame to bring it forward at 6 months in the year. And we are noticing when we bring the 8-month report forward, it's already into June when you receive that. So this is more timely information to bring it forward. So it's just another reporting period. We're going to bring these reports forward 3 times a year rather than the 2 that you were seeing them. And to take you through the report, Superintendent Keys is going to do that for you.
Thank you. And through the chair, I'm presenting our interim report as Executive Superintendent Charapaka had noted for the 6-month period, September 1st to February 28th, 2025. This report starts on page 59 of the agenda package. The report uses budget as a comparator to show current year results as well as year-over-year results. As of February 28th, DPCDSB continues to project a compliance deficit of 38.8 million for the 24-25 school year, impacted primarily by our employer-funded LTD plan. Additional cost pressures continue to include the unfunded portions of the CPP and EI, and the transportation grant, as well as critical system investment needs such as technology, cybersecurity, and curriculum materials. The sale of the two properties had not yet been finalized as of February 28th. However, the results will be reflected in the following report after the sales have closed. The report does include three different areas: financial, enrollment, and staffing, and I'll provide quick highlights of each. On page 61 of the agenda package is a summary of these areas. Our target or benchmark for spend at this time would be about 50%. As of February 28th, our total actual operating expenses are about 48.6% of our annual budget. However, if you include items booked at year end, the spend is closer to 52.2%. On page 62, further details are provided for the variance expense categories, and some are a little ahead of others, such as textbooks, classroom computers, and school office. Many expenses happen early on in the year, such as consumables and other supplies that will be used throughout the year, such as licenses, subscriptions, insurance, and other annual costs. They get recorded earlier on in the months. The middle and last section on page 61 shows the in-year change from enrollment and staffing from the original projections to the revised estimates reported to trustees in December. There have been no changes since the last reporting period. However, early projections for 25-26 indicate enrollment has stabilized with an enrollment decline in elementary panel mitigated by an enrollment growth in the secondary panel. That concludes my report, and we're happy to answer any questions trustees may have.
Thank you, Superintendent Keys. Do trustees have any questions for this report? Seeing none, the next item on the agenda is procurement summary report. Executive Superintendent Cheripaca.
Thank you. Through the chair, trustees here this evening would recognize this as a new report. This information has not come forward. This is being introduced, and the report is really an attempt to bring some high-level awareness to the procurement activity at Dufferin-Peel Catholic District School Board. The intention of this is to bring this type of report forward twice a year, so that the information becomes familiar for trustees. So what you'll see in this report will be the type of activity that's happening in the last 6 months, and it would be an ongoing 6-month report to share this information. Again, it's new information for everyone, a new report, so we're happy to take feedback, but again, it's just an information report that we would be bringing forward. To take you through in a bit more detail, I'll hand it over to Superintendent Keys.
Thank you again, and through the chair. The procurement activity report starts on page 63 of your agenda package. DPCDSB has over 550 vendors with contracts in place, which typically have a 3 to 5 year term. Supply chain management also processes approximately 10,500 purchase orders annually. Procurement activity for the 6-month period, September 1st, 2024 to February 28th, 2025, is outlined in the charts on page 64. The first chart outlines the various competitive processes undertaken through our supply chain management department, the number of awards and total spend of the various competitive processes. The second chart on page 64 is a summary of the contracts awarded greater than $750,000 and highlights the value of the contract, vendor the contract was awarded to, and the contract start date. That concludes the summary, and we're happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Superintendent Keys. We have Trustee Stefano Pascucci with a question.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, the air filter media removal installation for 1.3 million. Is that all our schools? And that's to pull out a filter, put in a new filter. And I'm being very, very basic here as a homeowner. Because there's an example of one school for heat pump and boiler, and then there's one underneath it, basically about the same. So I'm assuming it's for the full.
Yes, through the chair, that specific one is across the board. So that would be the work that had to be done for all schools, apartments, buildings, all facilities.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Trustee Pascucci. We have any other questions? Seeing none. We have no reports from committee administration requiring action. No notices of motion. Questions asked by trustees. Have Trustee Mario Pascucci with some questions?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. One question, it's the staff, and don't need the answer right now, but last time we dealt with the excursion bylaw, which I think was in the last month. Just want to get an idea on that, if you can just send me a note on that. And the second thing I want to ask, if we don't have enough pupils for a particular excursion, what's the normal process as Dufferin Peel that we follow? If someone told me we could maybe combine other boards and what have you, what's the best way of handling it? Don't have enough students for a minimum number for an excursion.
Through the chair, good evening, everyone. The last time, other than the report that was brought forward this evening, that we presented overseas or long-term excursions to the Board of Trustees was in November of 2024. If I understand correctly, the question is about what our processes are when we are not able to fill a trip with students entirely from our board. If it's from a school, as trustees are aware, just as was presented this evening by Superintendent Cusumano, we do bring schools together to ensure supervision ratios are appropriate and to make school trips viable for students. We do not ever combine our students with students from other boards for safety reasons and also because different boards follow different policies.
Thank you, Trustee Mario Pascucci. We have Trustee Del Rosario.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Sorry, just a quick question. Vaping, I think a few meetings ago, I remember I asked, and I remember Trustee Bria Corbett also asked about having presentation on the safety or how unsafe it is to do vaping. I have seen that presentation in one of my schools that was done by the Region of Peel. So I think it's very important that our students as well as our parents know the dangers of vaping. But I have not seen any presentations that been geared to that one. Are we planning any?
Through the chair, we can survey the schools to see whether, first of all, we can suggest that they should consider, but we can also survey our schools to see whether or not they have any intention of bringing presentations in. And we can put that in issues and events once we've collected it.
This is just a thought through the chair. Just as a follow-up, instead of surveying, could we encourage them to consider having a presentation from Region of Health, Peel Region of Health, to talk about vaping? Because we have had so much problems with the vaping in schools, and yet I have not seen much of it. It's one of the schools I represent together with my two other trustees that did that presentation to the parents, to the school council. And it was received very well, and the parents were just shocked on the dangers that vaping will do.
Through the chair, I was suggesting we do both. A, that we encourage schools to access the resources that public health have and try and get a sense of whether or not schools are accessing those resources.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Trustee Del Rosario. We have Trustee Bruno Anika.
Just to that point, can we make that a presentation for the Central Committee for Catholic School Council? Because I think that parents know if their kids vape, definitely know if they smoke. You can smell it a mile away. But the vaping, you know, if knowledge on vaping, and well, let me start over. Can staff ask if the Central Committee would be interested in having a presentation on vaping?
Through the chair, yes, we'll take that one back.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, trustee Anika. Seeing no more questions, we have no declared interest items. I have a motion to move in camera. Trustee Anika, all in favor? Seeing no one opposing, we will move into in camera. Have a 5-minute break. Come back at 8:34. Exactly.
Okay, rise and report from in-camera. During the in-camera portion of the Administration and Finance Committee meeting, we did the following. Approval of the minutes of the in-camera session of the Administration and Finance Committee meeting, February 4th, 2025. It dealt with a property matter and received from Peel Public Health regarding the impact of the change in process for opting out and in of dental screening. Moving forward, DPCDSB will resume the opt-out process. And finally, address questions of an in-camera nature.
Thank you for the report. Future
Approval.
meeting, the next
Through-
meeting is on.
Through the chair, we need approval of the report.
Oh, can I have someone move approval? Trustee Anika, all in favor? Anyone opposed? Seeing none, carry. Next meeting is on June 10, 2025. Can I have someone motion adjournment? Trustee Thomas, all in favor? Anyone opposed? None.